You don't think about like their chemistry really being there, but it really is and stuff. You could tell that they were best friends, and apparently, a fun fact, like they were huge friends on set of this movie, and they actually had crushes on each other, but just nothing ever happened from it. But yeah.
I mean, nothing might have happened in this film, but if you've seen Lake House, you know. Drive-by Movies here. My name's Blaise.
My name is James.
And never have ever seen the Keanu Reeves spectacular Speed.
Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock.
Pop quiz. You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do? What do you do?
Speed. Get ready for rush hour.
The classic Speed comes from the year 1994. It's about a young police officer who must prevent a bomb exploding aboard a city bus by keeping its speed above 50 miles per hour. So this is a movie I remember seeing as a really young kid. I was probably around 4 or 5 when I first saw this movie. This is one of the few rated R movies that my parents actually were okay with me watching. They must have rented it from Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, wherever we went to that weekend. And I don't think I watched the whole thing, but I remember watching, of course, just all the main bus scenes, as well as the final train climactic scene towards the end of the movie. But I've seen it a couple times since then, but it was nice to get a nice little refresher. But Blaise, what made you want to watch it?
This is just one of those movies that I hadn't seen, and also I was just I'm doing little pairings here and there. I thought Bad Trip, Cars, Speed. So here we are on Thursday, and we're talking about the film Speed, starring obviously Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper. I'm a huge fan of Dennis Hopper, so cool to see him in this antagonistic role. And I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. I knew it was going to be a movie that was tightly written, and like, because people always talk about like, oh, you haven't seen Speed, or oh, Speed's so good, you know, but I don't think I was quite in for, you know, what I was going to get into. But something that I did really enjoy about this movie that I don't think a lot of people talk about was I absolutely loved the score of this film. It was so weird that I thought the score honestly made the movie so much better than it was. It really reminded me of the video game Metal Gear Solid. It has the exact same style score. I don't know if that game came out around 94, but it had that same weird, it's like kind of orchestrated, but at the same time, like there is like a lot of synthesizers in the score. And I thought that score made it feel like that bus is going like 40 miles faster than it was going.
Right.
I enjoyed the movie, but I did have some gripes here and there just on like, I felt like the film was overall way too long.
Yeah, for me, like, you know, any movie that's 2 hours, I always wonder, like, does it need to be 2 hours? This movie is pretty epic on its grand scale, but, like, you know, of course, a big chunk of it is on the bus, and, you know, that's why we're here to watch the movie, essentially, so I get why that's such a long moment and stuff, and it definitely helps with building the intensity, but there were some scenes that definitely could have been cut down, but right from the intro to the movie, though, you're like, oh, this is what I'm getting into. This is going to be a fun movie and stuff. And, you know, there's a lot of compelling characters. Like, I forgot that Jeff Daniels was in this movie, actually. I totally didn't remember that. And then, you know, always remember some of the funny Keanu Reeves one-liners as well, too. And one thing I always want to, like, comment on also, though, is just the amazing chemistry between Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. You don't, like, that's not really, like, a love choice you would think for, like, an action movie, I feel like. I mean, of course, like, both have been in plenty of action movies, but just, you don't think about, like, their chemistry really being there, but it really is and stuff. You could tell that they were best friends, and apparently, a fun fact, like, they were huge friends on set of this movie, and they actually had crushes on each other, but just nothing ever happened from it. But yeah.
I mean, nothing might have happened in this film, but if you've seen Lake House, you know.
I forgot about that one, yeah.
We'll have to base it on sex then.
Whatever you say, man.
I have to say, you mentioned Jeff Daniels earlier, and I thought he's always, any film he's in, I think he always brings his A game. He's always so believable in any role. I feel like he's one of those actors that just has that natural kind of gravitas that he can bring to any type of performance, and he automatically sells it, but let alone adds a little bit of levity to something more, that's a little bit more on the serious end, like this film. Even though, his character is just barely there a little bit, he adds, just that extra little thing that brings this film up a notch. But when it comes to problems I had with this film, is just, I was talking about, it's a little too long. I feel like that whole third act with like the train, I wish everything was just more concise in this film when it comes to, I feel like all the best action of this film is on the bus. Like, let's just keep everything on the bus. The beginning is cool because it kind of sets up Dennis Hopper's crazy character, but I feel like it just gets almost too crazy in that third kind of act. It's a little bit shorter than a third act, but it's like that third kind of sequence where it's like, I was even surprised going into this that there was a whole beginning part that was not on the bus, because me not knowing about the film, I thought it started with Keanu Reeves getting on the bus and it ended with everyone getting off the bus, because he's gonna save everyone, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they could have like tightened it up maybe where it was just like an off-duty cop that like was just like in the wrong place at the wrong time or something, but it works out overall, and it does make you like kind of appreciate Keanu Reeves' character with his development and stuff, just to get you like introduced with him with a fun action scene at the beginning of the movie, as well as like get to know him and his partner, and then just seeing how Jeff Daniels goes out. Unfortunately, like I was like, oh, that he wasn't in this too much, but like it's weird to think that Jeff Daniels is in this and Dumb and Dumber kind of around the same time, just because those are two very different roles. But yeah, it definitely brings his A game to everything and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I guess there could have been a lot of, I'm not sure where exactly to condense things in this movie, but the climactic battle is definitely less satisfying compared to the bus one. There probably could have been a way to kind of get the two to end kind of nicely together. But just that ending line though, about Dennis Hopper though, like, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but just that line where he's just like, oh, he lost his head or something like that, like always cracks me up. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Dennis Hopper. I always feel like he would bring his A game to every single performance. I'm thinking specifically, obviously, Easy Rider, but also even in Land of the Dead, he's just freaking insane. But I mean, how am I going to forget the most insane Dennis Hopper performance? Obviously, Blue Velvet pretty much makes the movie.
I thought you were going to say Easy Rider there, actually.
Oh, I said Easy Rider first, but I mean...
you did. My bad.
Blue Velvet, he's so insane that I think Blue Velvet, he creates the Dennis Hopper experience. Because he's freaking crazy in that movie, to where I feel like that kind of ignites his career to always kind of playing these crazy type of villains and stuff, where Easy Rider is a little bit more restrained, I feel like, than the Blue Velvet, which is unhinged Dennis Hopper. So it's been a while since I've seen both the films, but I will never forget his performance in Blue Velvet. He's freaking insane when he's yelling about Pabst Blue Ribbon and how much he loves it.
What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Well, I have some fun news for you. I haven't seen both of them, so expect those for Never Have I Ever episodes. Yeah, we're just gonna have a Dennis Hopper month, I guess, sometime.
Oh, I'm totally down. I absolutely love Easy Rider. Blue Velvet, I don't know if I would say I love it. I think it's a good movie, but I don't know if I'd say I love it. And especially, I know you're a David Lynch fan. How can you be a David Lynch fan without watching Blue Velvet?
Good point, yeah. I mean, I guess you could say I'm more of a Twin Peaks fan, but yeah, there we go. But yeah, I mean, like, I always knew who Dennis Hopper was, but I guess really the only movie I have seen him in is really just Land of the Dead and this. But I mainly remember him specifically for this movie, and he does play a great villain and stuff, and just like, his motive's pretty intense and everything, and just like, yeah, it was a really fun watch to like watch this movie again, like watching it in 4K HDR on my new TV. I was just like, ooh, this is like nice and crisp and stuff, like as opposed to always watching on VHS or on cable TV on my tube TV growing up as a kid. So yeah,
I will say one thing about this movie. Also, it feels like there is this stigma that Keanu Reeves has carried pretty much his whole career of he's not a good actor. And this film it felt like to me watching it was like this was the evidence that a lot of people present when talking about Keanu Reeves and his acting chops, because there's some lines in this movie that are hilarious.
You have a hair trigger aimed at your head. What do you do?
You bother me!
What do you do?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think this is most people will think of this and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, I feel like, when it comes to Keanu Reeves being a bad actor. I can't speak on Bram Stoker's Dracula because I heard he also has some weird lines in that, and it doesn't help that he has an English accent in that movie.
We can be married when I return.
Of course.
All right.
Yeah, it definitely like comes off like kind of intentional in this movie. I kind of hope it did, but we all know that like he's a fine actor. Yeah, he's not like grade A, like A-list, like amazing Academy Award worthy actor, but he's just a fun, genuine, nice dude and stuff. And just like you root for him in every movie. He has that charisma and stuff, and it's there in this movie.
Definitely, yeah. I really enjoyed this for the first watch. It was, a film I'd never seen, I'd heard a lot about. I kind of knew the story. I think that was what, stopped me from like watching it all these years. Was like, oh, I know that the bus, can only go a certain speed and the bomb is going to go off. But I don't think I really understood how tightly written this script was, especially the bus scenes. Those are absolutely my favorite. And I felt like there was a lot of setup in this movie, maybe too much at times, and it felt like if it was a little bit tighter, a little bit more coincidental, I think the film could have been even, better. But overall, I think it is a really fun movie, and it's got like a lot of those fun 90s tropes and like styles that, people love. If you like the 90s. I'm not a 90s fan, but I feel like this film was like that perfect 90s experience.
Right, yeah. I wonder if we're going to get it remade eventually, because just got announced recently that Face Off is getting a remake, and that was what a lot of people consider the 90s action movie. And, Speed is right up there, I'd say, too, as well. So will we get a remake of Speed? I mean, it's that plot easily can be changed to something else if they wanted to, or they could do a reboot with Keanu Reeves even. But yeah, I mean, you're already rebooting The Matrix. He's got a fourth John Wick on the way and stuff. Like, we just had a reboot of Bill and Ted, or I mean, not a reboot, a sequel, but anything's possible, I feel like.
Definitely. And I have to say, yeah, I hope I don't see a Speed remake, but I feel like it's inevitable at this point, especially with the way that everything's been going, with everyone rebooting, remaking, sequelizing movies that are totally unnecessary. We're bound to get another Speed, but you can't bring Dennis Hopper back from the dead. I mean, in real life, you can't get a villain that's that epic. I feel like, what are we gonna just cast Michael Shannon in another villain role?
Say that to Disney. Say that to Disney, because if they own the rights, they're definitely going to CGI again, bringing them back. Bring back
Dennis Hopper. And have Michael Shannon play Dennis Hopper, but Dennis Hopper's CGI onto Michael Shannon's face.
Oh my god.
Anyways, guys, if you want to check out Speed, I highly recommend it. It's available on Amazon Prime or Video. You can click the link in the description box below to support the show and watch it on Amazon.
After doing that, be sure to leave a comment letting us know what you thought about the movie, especially if you haven't seen it. We'd love to hear your thoughts and keep the conversation going. Another great way to help us is by smashing that like button, and please subscribe also and hit that notification bell to get all of our latest updates.
It's going to be it for this week, guys. If you want to follow us on any of our social medias, they're all available in the description box below. Go check out the handles, follow us there. That's it for this week of Never Have Ever. See you next week for a brand new video.